Hi, welcome to the Untitled Car Show. I'm your host, Ike. Look, a Fiero. For those of you wondering what's going on with the Volvo project, it's going to be a different video. So, why a Fiero? You might be asking yourself. So, I've been doing a lot of research online about cars, holding their value, mid-engine cars, fun cars, sports cars, all that stuff. And I've come to the conclusion that this is the last good sports car you can buy for consistently under $1,000. So I figure I will try and kind of help revitalize the Fiero's reputation by bringing you along on this journey with me. Okay, one of the biggest reasons I picked this vehicle is it's, again, the price. You look at a lot of 80s cars and what's going on in the value, and they've been doing nothing but going up for decent examples of them. This vehicle, the Fiero in particular, has just gone nowhere. It's just been on a steady decline the entire time. Like, it just keeps going down and down and down. So I don't really understand why this doesn't get the love it should be getting. It's a mid-engine rear-wheel drive car. Yeah, I get that people complain not a lot of horsepower, but it's got kind of some fun, cool stuff associated with it. As you can see, this is a particularly beat up model. So hood, different color than the rest of the car. The hood's actually the original color. Big old bust in the windshield. Yeah, not quite sure what caused that. So one of the things why I think we should be embracing this as kind of a new, cheap car for the enthusiast. Kind of starts with the interior. As you can see, I got a fuel tank in here. There's other stuff going on in here. But, we have this kind of retro 80s chic thing going on recently. And it doesn't really get more 80s than the big square cluster. You can see, like, the speakers are kind of a different color. You got the cool little pocket vents. I mean, you got all sorts of little, dials and switches that some don't work. Look, a cassette deck. When's the last time you saw one of those in a car? You get all sorts of fun little, I'm kind of playing around with it as we speak. I've only had the car for like a day now, so as you can see, my speedometer is pegged somewhere in the 30s, and attack is not doing so good either. And apparently my fuel is relatively full. I don't know, we'll see. This thing's been used and abused, like we said. Look at that big old crack. And the sunroof leaks, so there's that. Fun times. It works up. I mean, look at that steering wheel. You don't get that in a modern car. Look at how small that horn button is. So I think that's part of the reason. Those are a couple of reasons why I think we need to kind of embrace this thing as a modern enthusiast car. It's simple-ish. We'll be going over that when we fix up what's wrong with the motor. You guys bought a car with a busted windshield, with a leaky sunroof interior. Yeah, it's a little tore up, but I live in the DC metropolitan area. This is a car with a manual transmission that I picked up for under $500. $400 basically is what I paid for this car. And it doesn't get much cooler than this for $400. And now, some of you out there in the Midwest, in the middle part of the country, $400 for a car, it's a lot of money for something that doesn't run and drive. Add like a 25% locality tax for anything in this area. It's cheap, first of all. These cars never really went down in value, or I'm sorry, opposite of my point, Ike, there you go. These cars have done nothing but go down in value. You can pick up great examples of these cars sub 4K all day. So if you're not into wrenching on the cars, great car for that. Which really, 80 sports car, which other one are you going to get for sub 4K that's in great condition? You can get something that's beat up and runs and drives well for still under $1,000. So it's kind of amazing. The Fiero stigma has kind of left it you know, these vehicles were very like, well, it's only got 150 or 130 horsepower in it. It's only got 170 pound-feet of torque on that V6, and you know, it needs more horsepower. It needs more horsepower. Blah blah blah. I think we all accept as modern enthusiasts, you don't need to have 500 horsepower to have fun. Just look at the Miata. And it's a Chevy platform, or it's a GM platform. So there's a lot of stuff co-shared around other vehicles. So I'll kind of show you how to kind of find parts and pieces that make it easier to get this thing fixed up, running and driving. More great things about this car in terms of why I think it's something that we as enthusiasts should embrace. It being fiberglass, I was able to take off the hood, move it all on my own. You know, little things like this don't bother me because when I loaded it off the trailer, it whacked my motor, and that caused that, I think. But it's just fiberglass, so it's easy to just kind of fix it, put some body filler on it. You don't have to worry about rust. If you're a novice painter, you can take off the body panels yourself and give them a nice coating of paint. Everything's kind of simple to work on in this vehicle. Everything's kind of up right where you need it to be. You know, there's your clutch, there's your brake master cylinder. It's easy to get to. Spare tires easy to get to. You have a nice little storage area up here. Some nice brake fluid that the previous owner left me. That was nice of him. You know, it's got a decent engine. It kind of looks cool. And with no one really knowing what these things are anymore, I asked a lot of my non-car enthusiast friends. I'm like, oh, I'm picking up a Fiero, and showed them a picture, and they're like, oh, that thing looks pretty badass. What the hell is it? Because it has that 80s chic nostalgia thing going on where it's in their head subconsciously, but they don't even realize it. So, you know, it's a fun little car. It's got an okay motor. Like, this is the original motor. So everyone's like, well, you gotta take that thing out and you gotta put something better in. Like, yeah, that's all fine and good, but this is about doing this not necessarily the right way, but you know, enjoying the car how it was built. We'll get around maybe to putting some power adders on it later, but you know, that's a simple motor. It's, you know, GM mid-80s EFI, so there's some, you know, choking. Anyway, before I was rudely interrupted by the airplane, so there's some mid-80s craziness going on with the, you know, vacuum lines and all that stuff. So there's issues. I'm not saying it's a great motor, but it's good enough for what we want to use it for. So, I mean, ignore the gas tank for a second, but just kind of looking at that thing as it sits, you know, I see why a lot of people put body kits on this and modify it, but I think this is a really good looking car on its own. And I think with a few tweaks and just kind of massaging this thing back into life, I think this is a great little project. And I think if you're looking to do a project of your own and you don't really know where to start, I would recommend going to your local Craigslist, your Facebook Marketplace, you know, your Search Tempest, wherever you're going, AutoZone, Auto Trader, whatever, and seeing how much one of these things costs on the local market for you. Because if you can snatch up one of these things as a third car, project car, whatever, I recommend it. Now, haven't driven it yet, but I mean, where else are you going to get that silhouette for sub $1,000? So join me, won't you, on this little magical journey, and I will keep you up to pace with what I do, when I do it, and when I get to work on it. So if you like looking at this thing and you want to see more of the Pontiac Fiero, which it needs a name, so if you can come up with a good name for it, please let me know. Ooh, that's a big old bee. I hate bees. Oh, that's a wasp. I'm gonna have to burn down the car. Sorry, everyone. That thing just crawled into that panel. That sucks. I mean, but look at that back end. I mean, that's a cool dual quad exhaust, 6 cylinders. There's some math there. Yeah, I mean, it's a badass little car. So let me know what you all think about it. Comment and subscribe and all that crap. All right, have a good one.